Many of you have had experiences like when you're a child going to Speedway. We've all had really good memories, some good experiences, and also the riders of the early days, they've gone ahead and they shaped our lives, right? And they influenced us and they inspired us. My earliest memories of watching Speedway was when I was like 8 or 9 years old. I had a classmate named Mike DeMont, and he's a friend of mine still. And he went ahead and he said, like, hey, my sister works at this fairgrounds in Costa Mesa. She's selling the beer. And would you like to come and join me to the races? And I had no idea what Speedway was. I had no idea. And I said, yeah, why not? He says, Friday night, we'll go ahead and pick you up and we're going to go to Speedway. And I'm like, whatever that is, let's do it. My first Friday night at the Speedway at Costa Mesa, I had no idea who the riders were, what was happening. But all I knew was it was a lot of fun and it was a good time. And I went home that night and I just enjoyed the heck out of that whole evening. And the next week came by and I went to Mike and I said, hey, Mike, I want to go to those motorcycle races again. And he said, no, Brian, you can't go. You can never go again because my sister, I think, got in trouble for bringing you last time. So you're never going to go to Speedway again. And I was like going to cry.
Fuck me! Fuck you!
I didn't really know what to do. So I was thinking, what am I going to do? How can I go to these motorcycle races? Mike says that I can never go to Speedway again in my life. And I want to go. But I had the coolest mom. Her name was Judy. Rest in peace, Mom. And I said, Mom, could you drop me off at the Costa Mesa Fairgrounds and I'll find a way back home? I was only like 9 years old or so. And I said, I want to watch those motorcycle races. I need just a few cents, like 25 cents or whatever. I think it's free. And I said, just take me to the Costa Mesa Fairgrounds and drop me off. So she dropped me off and I enjoyed the heck out of the Speedway races again without Mike and his sister. I was really addicted to this racing. And I went up to the guy next to me and I said, excuse me, sir, where do you live? And he said, oh, I live in Riverside. And I said, oh, could you give me a ride home? Because I have no ride home and I need a ride home tonight after the races. And he said, okay. So I started thinking I can get a ride home from Speedway every Friday night. And I went ahead and got a ride home and that was the start of it.
I'll be back.
Unfortunately, I couldn't get a ride home with people sitting next to me all the time because sometimes they lived in like Newport Beach. I lived in Orange. So I went outside to the main road there with the exit and I started hitchhiking. I was a 9-year-old kid. I'm like, I want to go home. And every Friday night I would get a ride home. I would hitchhike. A little 9-year-old. If I had a 9-year-old right now, I would never let him go hitchhiking alone on a Friday night at 11 p.m. But I was set. I was determined to watch that Speedway. I didn't know the racers, and I went ahead after the races and I would start getting autographs like all the other little boys did. And I would get the program and people would sign it, and all the riders were very nice and they would sign the program. And I particularly liked a couple riders who were not famous. One was Ruben Benitez. Still a friend of mine to this day. He's a very nice guy. And he was a middle of the road, middle of the pack rider. He was good though. He won a few main events and he had yellow and black leathers. I liked that yellow and black even as a 9-year-old boy. And I went ahead and liked Ruben Benitez and I was always cheering for him because he was so nice to me. And he was so cordial. When I was just a little boy, he would sign my autographs and ask me how I'm doing. And he just left a really good impression. Another rider that I really liked was Troy McKee. I think he's number 103. 103, Troy McKee. He had this long, flowing blonde hair coming out of his helmet. He was so cool. He was a handsome guy. And he was just another middle of the road rider. He would win a few main events here and there. But I liked Troy McKee. And every time Troy and Ruben raced, I was like go, go. And that's exciting when you're a little kid. You have somebody to root for. And I've had a few kids root for me when I was racing. And it's really nice to see the joy and the expressions of the little children on their faces. Riders just sometimes don't realize what an impact they have on children's lives, and being a role model and having that influence on people. And I've had that experience also with some of the young boys that when I was racing, they're racing Division 1 now, and it's really exciting to follow those guys and to see them from when they were just little kids asking for your autograph. There were so many good riders back in that era. There was Rick Woods.
3, 2, 1.
There was Wild Bill Cody. There was the Billy Gray. The son and father knows best. There were so many good riders. There was Steve and Sonny Nutter. There was the Bass brothers. Mike and Steve, they were awesome. And there were just so many good riders in that day. And they were just classic people, human beings. Lightning Larry Shaw. Larry Huffman, he had all these nicknames for these riders, and it made it exciting and made it electrifying to go to the Speedway races.